I love food and I love gaming. I love gaming with my friends and eating with them, but not finger food, which is what most gamers have. I am going to show you how to cook simple, quick and tasty recipes that you can have around when your friends come for a gaming evening. Welcome to Dice and Slice. Hello and welcome to the first full edition Dice and Slice. In a few minutes, Michael Chamberlain and I are going to be playing Fantasy Flight's X-Wing and letting you know what we think about it. But since we are in the kitchen, let's do some cooking. Hello friends! For the first recipe that we're going to be cooking in Dice and Slice, I wanted to bring something that is extremely healthy, very flexible, and incredibly easy to cook. It is so easy to cook that you don't even need to cook anything. It's more like preparing it because it's so simple and so tasty. It's vegetarian, it's all made with fresh ingredients, so you don't have to worry about anything. It has no sugar and it's called Gazpacho, which is a cold soup from the south of Spain, where I come from. Now, some people might have heard or seen places where they cook this, where they put it on a stove and cook it. If anybody offers you that, just back away slowly. They probably aren't dangerous, but you cannot be sure. Just back away and leave that place. This must not be cooked. The ingredients are hyper simple, and this is what we're going to be using. Roughly 1 kilo of tomatoes, a fennel bulb, a handful of fresh basil, 1 green chili, 2 cloves of garlic, a generous pinch of salt, a green pepper, about 1 liter of water, we may need more later, some pepper, a small glass of vinegar, 400 grams, which is just under half a kilo, or about a pound of stale bread, and 100 ml, which is about 4 fluid ounces of extra virgin olive oil. What we're gonna do is basically just blend it all together and then chill it. That's how easy it is. So in order to start, let me just get rid of some of these things that we don't need immediately. And we are going to start with the tomatoes, because we can. And in order to prepare this recipe, we just need a big bowl and a hand blitzer. The bowl, big bowl. Okay, don't make it in a small bowl. Big bowl, please. Trust me. Now, the tomatoes. Make sure they're ripe. And in Spain, we use beef tomatoes, which I understand can be quite expensive. So I've gone halfway and I am using vine tomatoes, which look beautiful as well as tasting fantastic. So, sharp knife. You don't need to do much with them, to be honest with you. Just roughly chop them, just like that. And however, that little woody bit at the top, you don't want that. It's kind of chewy and difficult to eat, so you don't want that thing. Some people like to peel their tomatoes. I don't bother with it, really. It's not necessary to do that. it is kind of pointless. By the time this is all blended and put together, you won't feel that that peel anyway. And to be honest with you, I don't feel it anyhow anyway, anywhere in any of the recipes I've ever cooked. So I'm not sure why people like doing that. Once we have the tomatoes, we're just going to add the 2 cloves of garlic. Just lightly crush them so they become very, very easy to peel. Chuck them in. You don't have to do much with them. That's it. We're now going to add half the water, give or take. Again, this doesn't need to be scientific at all. And the reason we're adding the water is because we need some fluid to get this going when we take a blender. Now a blender, I'm using the hand blender, which is kind of, I don't know, like the sonic screwdriver of cooking, because you can do so many things with it. But you can use any blender you like. Any food blender will do. I use my hand blender because I'm used to it, but it doesn't really matter what you use, just blend it all together. The one thing to remember though is that you have to add your seasoning, that is your salt and your pepper, at the very, very end. So I've blended this for a couple of minutes now, and yeah, it's all frothy. Don't worry about it, that froth will disappear, so that's absolutely fine. And some chunks remain, that's absolutely fine, because we're going to continue blending this in just a second. What I'm going to do next is add the fennel. Trust me, do not throw these away. You want them because they are very, very tasty. Some people chuck them away. I don't. Oh, and I can already. Oh, that aniseed smell is just so wonderful. We're going to keep a little bit for later, because this is, we're going to chop it finely chop it later on, and this is going to be used as a garnish. So just set it aside. Once again, you see those little leaves? Like that. Roughly chop it. Into your concoction. Bring it back and that's it. I'll leave this aside. And now I'm just going to add the pepper. The pepper needs to be deseeded, which is annoying, because it would be much nicer if the pepper didn't have to be deseeded, but it must be, because pepper seeds are just not particularly pleasant to eat. Again, just roughly chop it, get rid of the insides. And once again, we're gonna keep a little bit, not much, for later, so we can do a garnish. So roughly chop it all up, add it in, and have a guess. Ready. Now, my friend, is the time to use this beauty. The original recipe in Spain doesn't have chili. You can add a little bit of Tabasco if you like, but it doesn't come with chili. This is my creation because I love chilies. With chilies, remember, green means stronger. So this is going to be quite a lot of it. I'm not going to use everything because I want to start and then try and see what happens. You don't, with this recipe, you don't need to do everything in one go. You can be tasting as you go along and deciding what you want to add or not any more of. If you add everything and then you don't like it, you're stuck. But if you don't add everything, if you add little by little, like adding a little bit of chili and then try, and if it's not enough, then you can begin to add some more. You're safe. This is another mistake that a lot of people do, that you put everything right away in your recipe. Don't. Try, taste it. Make sure that it is as you want it to be and that you can remedy any lack of flavor. But if you already have it, then you're stuck. You're very, very much stuck. Now that that's blended, I'm going to get a spoon and I'm going to try this. Obviously it doesn't have any salt at the moment, so it's not going to be all that tasty. But the tomato flavor is there. The heat of the chili and the heat of the garlic are also there. So that's absolutely perfect. We don't want to do anything else to it, to this concoction. Now is the time to add the olive oil. Start with half. Once again, blend it all and have a taste. By the way, I've been working with chilies. Now, if you're not used to working with chilies, do not touch your eyes or your nose before washing your hands thoroughly. Trust me. On this one, please, trust me. Don't do it. Sorry. I like olive oil. I know. Delicious. Same applies to the vinegar. This is quite strong, so I'm going to start with just roughly half. And try it. Because I like it. Lastly, our salt. Be generous with it. Tomato is quite sweet, and the pepper is a little bit of bitterness, but not an awful lot of acidity. So again, half of what we have in here, just a generous pinch. And taste it. Oh no, that's getting there. Oh, that is getting there. Last ingredient, our basil. This is very much a personal choice. You don't have to have any of it if you don't like, but as far as I'm concerned, basil is the queen of herbs. I love the smell, absolutely adore the taste. So I tend to put a very good handful in there. I would put the whole thing, to be honest, but again, let's be cautious. And I have the basil to compensate for the lack of cucumber that I don't have. Remember, I changed the onion for the fennel and the cucumber for the basil. Taste. Wow. Okay. You can leave it like this if you want to. You don't have to do anything else, and it's perfectly edible and it's perfectly beautiful and gorgeous to eat. But the original recipe has bread in it, like this, to give it a bit of body, to make it really filling. This is meant to be a whole meal in one pot. So we're going to follow the recipe to that extent. And just add the bread. Remember, we made the bread a little bit stale. We've left it for about a day and a half. So it's going to absorb the water. This is why we're going to need more water for this. And it's going to bulk it up. Actually, I'm going to put just a little bit more water. And blend. That's it. You can see how the consistency is beginning to get thicker as we go along. And now we should be able to start tasting the bread, which I can, but not enough. So I'm going to add another 3 slices. And that's it. These, my friends, is gazpacho. Bit more salt, because the bread does take away from the saltiness. You're adding another flavor, so a bit more salt. And remember, you can change this recipe if you want to make something different with it. Have an ingredient that I haven't thought about: cumin. Cumin would be delicious with this. Go for it. Friends. Wow, that's lovely. The last thing we're going to do is to chop this bit of pepper quite finely, and just put it on top just for garnishing. And the fennel. Instead of the fennel, if you have a smaller bulb than the bulb I have used, you could use some spring onions, for example, and just thinly slice them. Remember, none of this needs to be too scientific, none of this needs to be too precise or accurate. That's it. That should be enough fennel. I'm not going to use the rest. And last but not least, you can use this beautiful, beautiful leaf. And sprinkle them on top. Oh my God. Sprinkle them on top. Let me bring that close. close to the camera to see. And you have, my friends, a beautiful dish of gazpacho on a very untidy table. As the wise man goes, ta-da! For dessert, because yes, I really like to cook desserts for my friends as well, I'm going to show you how to cook possibly the simplest dessert on the planet, and it takes next to nothing at all to do. You only need 4 ingredients. A pint and a half of full fat milk, cow's milk, which is about 700 milliliters, 3/4 of a liter, just a pint and a half, about 3 cups if you are in the US. 50 grams of caster sugar, which is about 2 ounces, give or take. 100 grams of rice, which is about 4 ounces. And 1 stick of cinnamon. And with this, we're going to cook cream rice. Now, we need to go to the hob for this one, so please do follow me. The first thing we have to do is to bring the milk to a simmer point. Now, you have to be very careful to do it gently, because if you put too high heat on your milk, it will burn underneath, and the fat of the milk will separate even more, which is not particularly good. So I'm just going to put my hob, this is an induction hob, so medium, about a number 4, and in it, in the milk, just 1 of the 2 cinnamon sticks, and that will infuse the whole thing with a cinnamon, beautiful, sweet taste. And now just gently let's wait for a bit. So now that we begin to see the milk that's beginning to steam a little bit, that's pretty much the simmering point. We're not going to bring it to bubbling just yet, because it will go as milk does when it boils. So we're going to add the rice. Some of these recipes that you find online or in books or whatever tell you to add the rice and the sugar at the same time. Don't, because that literally is going to double the amount of time the rice is going to take to cook. For some reason it just takes a lot longer. So just cook the rice. We're going to be cooking and stirring it very gently for about 15 minutes until it's soft, and then we're going to add the sugar. You can see I've changed from the spoon, the wooden spoon, to this whisker. And the reason why is because sometimes the rice can get a little bit stuck. And if you stir it with this instead of doing it with a spoon, it becomes all loosened, which is great. Now that the rice is nearly ready, it is time to add the sugar, and just literally pour it in. Stir gently, so the whole thing will dissolve. And that's it. We have creamed rice. We're gonna do this for 1 more minute, and then we're just gonna leave it to cool. At the moment, as you can see, it looks very liquid, but the rice will continue to absorb all the milk once it's finished cooking, and it will be a little bit thicker later on. But for now, we just turn it off, leave it to cool, and friends, we're gonna go and play a game. We have prepared the food, and now we have prepared the table. As I was mentioning at the beginning of the show, we are going to be playing X-Wing, the Fantasy Flight game that came out a little while ago. This has been in the gaming consciousness for a while. Michael, what did you remember of this game?
I remember thinking it was fairly fast paced once it got going,
Yes.
that the action felt like, yeah, you could be in a Star Wars film, and the beautiful minis.
Yes.
Beautiful minis.
Production values, Fantasy Flight really has not held back at all. It is truly superb from the quality of the minis to even the chips. The asteroid chips are actually quite nice. Now, how does it play?
Well, the game takes place over phases where we're going to be moving our ships and taking actions, then we're going to be firing, and then there's kind of a cleanup type step. And this just rinse repeats until one of us is Stardust.
You! We're going to be playing, you are going to be the imperialist fascists, whereas I am going to be the rebellious scum.
Yep, noble heroes over here.
Absolutely, and absolute martyrs and freedom fighters on this side, which suits me fine, since I like my freedoms. Just to explain a little bit as to how things are going to be working, the movement is controlled by these dials. The dials tell you both how far and in what direction the ships are either going to steer, and they can do it straight, so not steering, a soft, gentle steer to one side or another, or a hard one. And every dial has the right maneuvers for each different ship. Now, we are playing, in my case, with 1 X-Wing and 2 A-Wings. And Michael?
I've got 2 TIE fighters, named pilots for those, and a YT-1300. Not the Millennium Falcon itself, but the same model of ship.
Kind of a twin sister.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Now, we have, which is a really good fun, I think that was actually a very nice touch, named pilots, which means that we can play with the heroes from the series.
Okay.
Which is great, because that means I get to play with Luke Skywalker.
Very nice. I'm fielding Dark Hearse and More Mythal.
Who?
Yeah, they were at the back of that shot. You know, I imagine people who know the books better than us will appreciate the flavour more than us.
Probably those, and those are probably now, sending us death threats for not knowing.
We can always use the mail.
Indeed. Now, the gameplay goes into movement, then actions, and then we resolve any kind of battle, and then there's a wind down little thing. So we're going to show you exactly how this plays step by step. So we're going to start with the movement.
Yes. We'll initially pick our actions for each ship on these dials, and then each pilot has a piloting skill which will determine the order which it happens in. So the lowest skilled pilots will move first, and then we'll go up the skill order. So when there are little manoeuvres you can pull to just tweak your ship a little bit after moving, the more skilled pilots will be able to take into account what the less skilled pilots have already done.
Which makes, as far as I'm concerned, makes perfect sense, really. So now we're going to choose these in secret, though. I don't want you to see what I am going to do, for obvious reasons.
Aim for an asteroid.
People can also see that I have 2 of the same ships, or two of the A-Wings, and they're both numbered. So I can apply the right maneuvers to the right ship and not mess it up, which happens way too often. Like so. And now that we have this, we get our initiative turns. Now, we have a bit of an issue in as much as 3 of our ships have the same speed.
Yes. 3 pilots who haven't got a clue.
Yes. So I think that because you are the imperialist fascist and therefore a bully, you should move first.
Sure, why not?
Not that I'm in character or anything.
We have the right to be here, we're moving first. Yes. So we're going with a bank right 3.
And in order to do that, you get...
Take the template, goes between some guides on the front of the ship, then you move the mini right through and place it at the guides at the back.
Whereas in my case, A-Wing number 1, which is this one here, is going to soft steer to the right. to the tune of 3 spaces. And number 2 is going to soft steer to the left to the tune of 3 spaces.
Yep. So
Those are the slow ones. Luke is on number 8, which is quite fast, so I think you go first.
I've got 6s and 7s next. So Dark Curse 6 is just hammering it forward with 5, which is going to be an interesting one to plot.
So he's ducking under.
Yeah, the game represents 3-dimensional space, so it's assumed
Yes.
that ships are above or below
Exactly.
each other.
That's why you're not crashing, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then more Mythal with a soft bank 3 again. There we go.
And Luke Skywalker is going to soft steer to the right on a 2, because contrary to popular belief, I don't want to crash against asteroids.
That's definitely contrary to popular belief.
Yes, because it has been known to happen. Once the round is over, we cannot really do anything else at the moment because we are not on range to attack anything. To attack, we have this template, which sets the distance that our ships can attack. If we are not close enough, there's no point in firing. If we were close enough, then he would be dead.
We do have some manoeuvre actions we could take, though.
Mhm.
Your A-Wings have got some options. I can barrel roll with the TIE fighters. Neither of us have chosen to do that at this stage, though.
That's correct. You know, one of the things I like about these dials is because the number of maneuvers is fairly limited. You cannot get that much analysis paralysis.
No.
The whole thing can get moving quite quickly.
So we're going to bank left again.
You're cutting it close there, mate. And that's how a TIE fighter takes a close look at the Millennium Falcon's bomb.
Yeah. Nice scale.
Yes. Right, number 1 here is going to do a hard 3 turn.
Yep.
And number 2 is going to take a hard 2 turn.
Yep. So Dark Curse next is just a short forward 2.
Oh, this is going to hurt.
Because he's got his action, though, remember to use that. I'm going to barrel roll him.
Every little ship has its little abilities that you can get, and sometimes you can also buy upgrades. And maybe this is the right time to explain the points system.
Yes. Every card has a number of points on it.
Mhm.
So the Millennium Falcon Starship has cost me 27 points. 16 for one of the TIE fighters and 17 for the others. This is to balance in the power of the ship, the power of the pilot using it, and any abilities that they get. Each team will have a pool of points to build from, and you put in your ships, and there are these upgrade cards as well that allow us to just balance the points and even out where the abilities lie.
Correct. And in my case, my X-Wing is 28 points, and my 2 A-Wings, because they're just lackeys, they are 17 points. They're, you know, I'm expecting them to die. That's what I'm trying to say. So you've moved your 3 ships.
I've got more Mythal left,
Oh yes, I beg your pardon.
and that's a hard right 1, which I think actually
Ooh,
was
kaboom!
a mistake.
Kaboom!
Kaboom indeed. I move as far as possible along the template and then stop. So the ship's moved, but it's only moved as far as it can through it.
Mhm.
It does cost it its action step.
Yes.
So I can't take actions and barrel roll or lock or dodge from that. But I don't take any damage from it. If I hit an asteroid, I'd be looking at damage as well.
You would. You didn't move this one when I was explaining about the ability, so
Excellent, we'll do that now.
no, you're welcome.
Get back.
And Luke Skywalker is also going to move and is going to do a sharp 2 turn.
I like him there.
Now that Luke Skywalker has moved, now we can begin to shoot at each other.
Sounds good.
because that's, we're friends. That's what friends do.
Traitors, get out of my galaxy.
No, you get out of my galaxy. Right. Combat. We are going to go from quickest to slowest,
Yeah.
which means that look, because I have in my card set up a number 8, that's me, and I check with this how far I am from the nearest or the target. Actually, my action, I beg your pardon, I'm going to lock. This is one of the things that Luke Skywalker can do. I can lock on an enemy target, so when I shoot at it, if my roll is not very favorable, I can spend that token or those tokens to re-roll my dice and hopefully hurt you.
That's the idea.
I like hurting you. So I check the distance between my ship, my X-Wing, and the Millennium Falcon and see what number it falls onto, and it's number 3. If you shoot at close range, you get the chance of do more damage than if you shoot at range 2, which is normal damage or normal defense, and 3, which is what I'm going to shoot now. Michael will be able to roll 1 extra defense die.
Yes.
The attack dice, you have 3 different tokens and a blank side. Tokens for normal damage, critical damage,
Focus.
and focus.
You take a focusing action, it's one of your action sorts, and it allows you to flip that die to a relevant face, whether you're defending or attacking.
So time to roll. Ooh, 1 critical damage and 1 normal damage. And now you roll 4 dice.
I get 2 defense dice.
So 1 extra because I'm a long range.
Yep, 1 for the ship and 1 for the range.
Okay,
So
good heavens.
I've got 1 focus and 1 maneuver. The maneuver allows me to dodge 1 of the points of damage, but you always dodge regular damage first.
I like that. So that's fine.
So I got a point of damage undealt with. That cost me 1 of my shield tokens. And that's that shot.
That is that shot indeed. And now you have your rebellious, just your imperialist bastards fighting and shooting at me.
Yes. Dark Curse, very comfortably at range 1.
Absolutely, yes.
That. So I will take my range 1 attack on that, which is my 2 standard dice for the card, and the bonus die for being at range 1. And when defending, ships attacking, you cannot spend focus tokens on reroll of attack dice's ability. Not really relevant here. It's there. Our 3 dice say 1 regular damage, 1 critical damage.
And I roll my 3 defenses.
You do. Oh dear.
Which means that I eat 2 lasers in my face. And that means my 2 shield tokens
are gone.
Now I feel naked. I hate you.
How much hull has that got out of curiosity?
2 points of hull.
Halfway dead.
Yes. But I was expecting that, so that's fine. I don't feel bad about it.
Okay. That leaves more Mythal.
Yes.
Oh,
Doesn't
he's
he?
in range for... Oh, he is. He's
Yeah.
at far end of range on that one. Well, have his attack.
Yay!
And he gets 3 attack die. 2 attack dice, rather. And no attacks worth dealing with.
Ha! And now number 1s. So your Millennium Falcon wannabe.
Okay. Let's see. 2. This can attack 360 degrees.
So you can attack and you can choose anybody basically.
We'll definitely take a shot at the vulnerable ship.
Don't finish it off just yet.
2 attack dice. Nothing.
Yes! Ugh. And now my beauties. Easily, comfortably on the 1.
Yep.
Sorry, move that there a bit. So let's hit you, baby. For nothing.
Yep.
And
2?
Either, yeah, 2 I think, because it's the base is touching that, or I could go 3. No, I'm going to go 2, and I'm going to shoot at the Millennium Falcon.
Yep.
Wannabe. Precisely. For nothing. So you've shot, I've shot, everybody's shot, we love each other very much indeed. Next round.
Next round.
That. Okay, Millennium Sparrow. Try to get out, please.
I'm hoping that a 1 forward is enough. And you know what? If it's not, I've got real issues with movement in this section of the galaxy.
Ooh.
There we go.
That was so close.
And I will take a focus for that as well.
Okay. Where my number 1, which is here, is going to take a sharp 2 turn to avoid following your example.
It's wise.
For obvious reasons. And my number 2 is going to do a soft turn to the left, which is probably going to make me crash against you.
So as far along the template as we can until contact.
Right, can you slide that off? Thank you. Pew, pew, pew. Right, Darth.
Okay, so Dark Curse.
Death.
Dark Curse.
No. Come on.
I don't think we hit an asteroid this way, but we
You do. You do hit an asteroid that way.
That token's underneath.
And that's on the asteroid. Yes!
I seem to be hitting asteroids today. It seems to be what I do.
What? What about your other beauty?
Well, let's see how much damage he's
Yes,
taking
please
from his
do.
driving.
Yeah,
Because
that
this
might
could
kill
actually
it.
kill him.
Yes!
And he is out of this game. So his miniature is gone, and his cards go with him.
Let's face it, the Empire doesn't need the rebellion to die, does it? You just need an asteroid field.
Okay,
Excellent.
so we've got that one.
Yeah, which is stressed out, by the way,
Yep.
having seen his friend death.
And this is a hard turn. Get the right template.
And that doesn't hit anything. It's learned its lesson.
Yeah. No more crashing this round.
And Luke Skywalker, it's going to do a hard turn. Which means that I don't think many of us, apart from the Millennium Falcon...
I think Skywalker's just about in range.
Can you? Do you think so? Have a go. I can see from here.
On the edge of that line does in fact cover the very edge of that base.
And on a 1 range, I presume?
Yes.
So, allow me to kill you.
Please do.
For 1 damage.
I have 1 defense die at this range.
Ooh.
I have a dodge.
I haven't taken any actions for anything, so that's fine.
So we've got 2 at... More missile can't fight.
Can't fight anything. This one can't hide anything either. So we're just pew-pewing each other.
This one here?
Yes. So range 1.
Yep.
So 2 dices.
Okay.
For 1 critical.
Okay, I've got my defense on here. Nothing. I'm taking a point of...
Actually, I forgot completely that I could have spent those tokens. You see, this is the importance of knowing the rules really, really well and remembering what you can and cannot do. Map at me. Next round.
So I take a point of critical damage.
Yes.
One of these cards, rather than it being face down like we've had so far.
Yes.
This one gets flipped over and we find out. This card counts as 2 damage against my hull.
Ooh.
So that's there. Only 4 strength left in
4
that.
left.
Okay, and now what to fire on from here? 3 attack dice. I think we're going for the X-Wing.
And by the way, because my maneuver was a green arrow, earlier. My stress token is
It is
disappearing.
indeed gone. So let's see how the attack against Luke goes. We've got one critical.
One critical, and I have defenses of 2.
One dodge.
One dodge.
Sufficient.
So nothing happens.
Nothing happens.
Let's roll. Right, Millennium Sparrow.
We are doing a K turn 3. Yes. It's a bit tricky to
Very tricky.
work out.
Shall I hold this for you?
Please do. About there. Which is going to be a stressful manoeuvre.
Yes. In my case, my number 1, which is this one here, is going to do a 3 sharp turn. And my number 2 is going to do a 3. Let's turn around and face our enemy.
Yep.
Maneuver, which is actually stressful.
More metal.
He, though, is going to take a locking
Okay.
token, and is just going to lock.
Okay. Going to just do a 2 straight for this. Put that to one side for a moment. To de-stress.
Relax.
Cheers.
Look at the stars.
Indeed.
And Mr. Skywalker. Oh dear.
His action will dodge with it.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. This is not what I wanted. I'm going to do a U-turn.
K turning in front of the sparrow.
Yeah. That has really not turned up as I wanted it. And it's stressful as well, which means I cannot. Oh, wait a second, I need to. Oh, okay, nothing. Right, let's kill things.
So Luke's at the top of our tree and won't be firing, will he?
No, it doesn't reach anything.
Okay. More Mythal is facing into space.
Yes. Whereas my beauties, number 1 is in 3 range.
Yep.
But I'm locking now, I remember. So if need be, I can re-roll dice.
Okay.
I'm going to risk it and re-roll those 2. Yes, for 2 potential damages.
I need another green dice, please, because at range I gain that.
Come on, die.
3 dodges.
3 dodges.
And
Nothing
I
happened.
leave the token up in case I need it. I don't
Okay.
think I will.
No.
But
And this one is also going to attack the Millennium Sparrow for 3. I keep rolling 3 damages. It's only 2. Remind me that, please. I'm cheating unwillingly. Not that I need to.
So I've got my 2 defense dice. I could do with being a bit lucky here.
But you're not. Yes.
It's another 2 face down damage. Thankfully, there's a hull of 6. It's still in there.
Yeah, you have 2 left though.
It's not looking good.
No, it is not.
But so long as I've got Luke square within my sights, I may as well fire. And by in my sights, I mean I can point at him out of the windows. So 3 dice.
Yep.
2 damage.
And I take 1 less defense, don't I? Because we're on close range.
No less defense.
Oh, no less defense.
But I gain an additional attack.
I can defending, turn a focus into a dodge.
Okay.
So I take 1 damage. Right, come on, this has to happen. Shoot me.
Yeah. That's a range 1, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
1 hit.
Dodge.
Cool. Back the other way.
Yes. I roll one extra
Yes.
to hit. Oh,
and it's gone.
Yes! Excellent. The Millennium Sparrow is no more.
It's a lot of damage cards just went away. And it's down to dogfighting.
Yes. I'm dead.
I'll focus that up.
That's fine. And the Empire has prevailed.
Nominally.
Just about, but Dude, I'm hungry. I'm gonna get something to eat. Shall we?
Food seems good.
Yes, food. Food. That's it. Game over. And now we can start to eat our delicious food, which, remember, we have some gazpacho, vegetable soup with no cooking whatsoever, and our cream rice, which I'm just going to sprinkle a little tiny bit of cinnamon on top. You can also use ground nutmeg, but I am a cinnamon nutter. I could sniff this stuff and be happy. There you go, good spike. And that's it, let's go and we'll tell you what we think about the game. And food for heroes and to our fallen comrades.
Fallen comrades.
I'm sorry to say this, but as much as it's really, really enjoyable as a game, it's very anticlimactic.
It is. Certainly with this many ships. I think if it was just the base set and you had 2 ships on one side, one on the other, it was a much quicker game when we reviewed it that way.
Yeah.
With more ships, it bogs down a little towards the end. Apart from some spectacular asteroid crashing.
No kidding.
The game could have gone on an awful lot longer. I don't know whether the asteroids drag out the game or not, but I like them as flavour to it.
I think so, and to be honest, I think it not just looks very well, but it does. They do a very good role in actually making the game a little bit shorter. Because, as you said, without hitting those asteroids, we wouldn't have taken some damage, and the game would still be going on. It was a 60-point-ish game, and we've been going at it for over an hour and a half, which is quite a long time.
It is. Certainly the starter set is a much quicker game if that's what you're into. It does simulate what it sets out to do, though, very nicely. There are 1 or 2 rules in there which I really don't get to grips with. You back up. Yeah, it makes sense so as you don't end up with models overlapping each other. You have to find a mechanic to do that. And there is the fact that you can add more stands into it to allow for height. If it's just the models overlapping, but the base is overlapping, that it stops you from moving at all. Actually goes completely against this is 3-dimensional space thing they're trying to get across in other ways. It's not a big deal, but if you're going to play a lot of this, I think you should expect to be irritated by it occasionally.
Yeah, I would say so. It's a minor gripe, but it is a gripe nonetheless.
Yeah.
However, I have to say, as an activity, this is thoroughly enjoyable.
Yeah. Give it a time limit. Perfect.
Yes, but I can imagine this also playing as a group. If you have enough people and enough ships and enough points, as an after meal, post-Christmas meal kind of activity for the whole family, when everybody's got one ship and you're just skirmishing to kill each other.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrific fun. And although the strategic value, the strategic aspect of the game is not gigantic, but I can see why the tournaments are doing so well.
Yeah. I wonder for the tournament structure whether you actually play to 0 points. I've not looked into it, but I can't help but think this game might actually be improved from my experience. Others may disagree, of course, but improved by going, we're going to play until someone has lost 3/4 of their points from the field.
Yes.
You don't fight to the last ship. You fight until a critical amount of troops have been lost, and then that's it.
Yeah, and you know, I think that would probably make the game a lot better, because at the very end, when we were just dogfighting, I mean, both of us were, oh, please just kill me.
Yeah, the end was torture.
Yeah.
But there were some really good moments throughout it.
Absolutely.
As well. You know, the materials you're playing with are pleasant to use. Considering it's a fantasy flight game, and they've certainly been criticised in the past for their rule books being horrendous, and I'm not going to do anything to argue with those criticisms now, that's for sure. The rules for this are pretty
clear.
easy to get to hands with. There are a few niche cases, you know, if you're parked on top of an asteroid, or if you move off the edge of the board, these little things that you may find yourself checking up on because they don't happen as often, or, you know, as you're progressing through the game. They're very usable rules.
Yeah, no, the whole thing is actually very good. I liked the game when we did it in the podcast. I am liking it now. I think it's perfect for round the table light entertainment sort of thing. It doesn't produce any unpleasant moment between players. You know, there is no acrimony.
No.
When you kill one of your opponents, which for me that is a massive thing in a competitive game.
Yeah. There are moments where you can get frustrated, but that's more at choices you've made not panning out because of turn order and obstacles and that having to back up rule. But that aside, you know, if you're in a bad position, generally you put yourself there. It's hard to blame the other person too much for the choices you made, and that simultaneous selection of movements is good. The fact that there is something that allows for the pilot skill to matter, both during movement and choice of actions, and then later for the order of fire. Mechanically, it's sound.
Yeah, absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. Game for the table?
Yeah. The right crowd, this is the right game. It's the classic thing, you know. If you've got someone who's into Star Wars, so much the better. If you just want something where you want to push some ships around and blow some stuff up, great. But agree not to play it to the last man.
No, definitely yes. Like the length, you know, the whole thing. I definitely approve of this game, and I think it's an excellent. I think it's an excellent gateway game for skirmishing and minis. Game. Very, very good for that.
More your thing than mine, but definitely agree.
Yeah. And that's it. This is the end of the pilot episode of Dice and Slice. Please send us your feedback, because now is the time to let us know what you liked and what you didn't like, and how you think we could make things better for future episodes. And remember to subscribe, because these episodes are going to be coming very, very soon indeed. So thank you very much for watching, and thank you for your support, and until the next episode, keep dicing and keep slicing.